All right, so we're going to continue talking about section 4.4. We're going to talk about, in this video, something called the minimum payment formula. So I'm going to write out the minimum payment formula and then highlight some pieces of it, and then we're going to do a quick example. So this formula is equal to the initial amount times 1 plus r times 1 minus m raised to the t. So we want to talk about what each of these pieces signify. So R is equal to the APR of your credit card divided by 12, and this is as a decimal. Okay, and then M is the minimum percent payment, again as a decimal.
So I want to take just a moment here and mention that T is in fact in months.
So both of these, R and M, when you plug them into this formula, will be decimal values. And of course, your initial amount is how much money do you start with on the credit card. Now, one important thing to note about this formula is that it assumes you make no purchases. Okay, so you notice there's nowhere in here that accounts for the fact that you will add to the amount. The minute that you make a purchase, your initial amount will then have to change, and it could throw off the calculations. Now, for the textbook and WebAssign, for the most part, actually for all of the parts as far as I remember, none of them tell you you're going to make any purchases to use that minimum payment formula. All right, so we're going to clear this off, and we're going to look at a quick example of how to use this formula and some technicalities that may crop up when you're using WebAssign. All right, so here we have our example. We have a credit card that has an initial amount of $1,000 on it. We have a 5% minimum payment with a 24% APR. So we're going to use the minimum payment remaining balance formula in order to calculate, so this is our question, what is the remaining balance after 1 year? Okay, so we want to look at that. So let's use our formula. So that's going to be the initial amount, which is 1,000, times 1 plus r times 1 minus m raised to the t. And so r, we're going to calculate, I'll come over here to the side. So r is going to be 24 divided by 12, which is 2%, and our m was 5% just from the problem. So then our formula is going to have 1,000 times 1 plus, now we got to write that 2% as a decimal, so 0.02, and then 1 minus 0.05 raised to the t. So if I put this in parentheses, this stuff that's in parentheses in the square bracket into the calculator, or into a calculator, then what I'm going to get is this number is going to become 0.969 raised to the t. Now, it is no coincidence that that number is less than 1. In fact, it should always be less than 1 if you are making payments that is more than your monthly interest. If you're not, well, then you're never going to pay your credit card off. It's just going to keep building. So we need this number to be less than 1 in order to pay this credit card off. So going back to our question, what was the remaining balance after 1 year? I don't put just one in here because we're making this minimum payment each month. So if I do this, I'm going to make this 5% payment for 12 months. So the answer is going to be 1,000 times 0.969 raised to the 12th, which if I look at my calculator, gives me $685.31. So the remaining balance after 1 year, using this formula, and again making no purchases whatsoever, I would have $685.31 remaining to pay off this credit card this way. Just to mention real quick, obviously that is not fantastic because we started out with $1,000 balance and we haven't even knocked off a total $400 of our credit card debt in the 1 year that we have been making payments. So this is not the most efficient way to pay off a credit card. In future video, I do hope to show you how you can use the TVM calculator in order to figure out what would be the best payment to make in order to pay off your credit card in the quickest time possible, or whatever time that you see fit. All right, so I hope that was helpful, and look for another video coming soon.